Hey, are you thinking about making a move to Prattville, Alabama? Today I'm going to talk about 5 pros and 5 cons that you should probably think about before making a move there, so stick around. Okay, so the first pro about moving to Prattville is its small town charm. Prattville offers, a really tight-knit, small town feel. It's bigger than a small town, but it still offers that small town feel. It's definitely a lot smaller than Montgomery, so it's really ideal for people who may want to have access to a bigger city, but don't necessarily want to live in a bigger city. Not to say Montgomery is huge, but it definitely is bigger than Prattville. And so if you don't want to live in a bigger city and you want to have that small town feel, but still have access to a big city like Montgomery, Prattville might be a good option for you. So the second pro of living in Prattville is, speaking of Montgomery, Prattville is pretty close to Montgomery. It's only about a 20-minute drive from Prattville to Montgomery, depending on the traffic. And there's 2 ways you can get there, through I-65 or Highway 31. Both of those bring you right into Montgomery. So, the access and proximity to Montgomery, all of the shopping that Montgomery has. So the proximity to Montgomery is one of the things that is a pro to Prattville. So again, you get the small town feel while also being accessible to Montgomery. Okay, the number 3 pro of living in Prattville, Alabama are the outdoor activities. So there's Autauga Creek and there is the bamboo forest. I've done a couple of videos that are highlighting the Autauga Creek and the bamboo forest. I'll try to link them up here if I remember. So you got outdoor activities. You've got, plenty of outdoor activities to do: bike trails, walking trails, fishing. There are hunting opportunities if you do that. So the outdoor activities and the access to outdoor activities are one of the draws and one of the pros of living in Prattville. So the number 4 pro of living in Prattville is the school system. So a lot of people might move to Prattville for the school system to get their kids into the Autauga County or Prattville City school system. Prattville school system is pretty competitive. Their sports are competitive, their academics are competitive. And on top of that, Prattville has received several awards for their academics and their programs that they offer to the students. So the education system in Prattville and in Autauga County may be one of the reasons why you would want to live in Prattville. And the 5th pro to living in Prattville would be the affordable housing. So you can get a lot more house for your money in Prattville than you can in Montgomery. And not only that, the taxes are lower in Prattville than they are in Montgomery. Sales tax and the property tax. So you're looking at lower cost housing, lower cost taxes, lower cost sales tax. So all of those things combine together to give you a lower cost of living with still having the access to Montgomery. And you're not very far from Birmingham by the time you get to Prattville anyway. So again, a lower cost of living, lower housing, lower taxes. Those are all things that make Prattville a pretty desirable place to live. Okay, now for the cons. So there are 5 cons to living in Prattville, Alabama. And we'll start with number 1, which is the limited nightlife. To be honest with you, if you're anything like me, I'm in my 40s, and nightlife to me is going to bed early. So I don't know, if you're anything like me, then the nightlife thing isn't really that big of a deal. So I don't really have much of a nightlife, all that other stuff, and you want to get out and about. There are limited opportunities in Prattville. There's a few, but there's limited opportunities. So the limited nightlife is probably the number 1 con on the list here of living in Prattville. Okay, the number 2 con of living in Prattville is probably the traffic on I-65 or the traffic on Highway 31. So most people are probably going to be working in Montgomery, which means you're probably going to be commuting a lot to and from Montgomery. And traffic on 65 in the mornings and afternoons can be pretty brutal, as well as on Highway 31. Now, especially if there's a wreck, if there's an accident on either one of those, then you can guarantee it's probably going to be standstill. But if you're coming from a place where traffic is pretty normal and typical, and you only really have to deal with it occasionally, then that may not be a big deal to you. But the traffic on 65 and the traffic on 31 are one of the cons of living in Prattville, Alabama. Okay, the number 3 con of living in Prattville, Alabama is the weather. Now the weather is no different than Montgomery. So if you've seen any of my videos where I talk about the weather here in Montgomery, then it's just the same up in Prattville as it is here. We're prone to hot, humid, sometimes rainy weather. Like right now, it's really hot and it's October 3rd and it's still really hot. And occasionally bad weather, you know, hurricanes come up through the Gulf. Sometimes they rarely do much to us, except for have a little bit of rain, or sometimes a lot of rain. And we do have, occasionally we do have tornadoes. So the weather is one of the negatives of living in Prattville, Alabama. Okay, the number 4 con of living in Prattville is there are fewer job opportunities. Now, like I said earlier, most people who live in Prattville do commute to Montgomery to go to work. So if that's something that you are looking at and you're gonna be commuting, this is really not that big of a deal. But there are fewer job opportunities in Prattville. There are jobs, but the number of industries and the number of companies in Prattville are far lower than the number of industries and companies like in Montgomery or in Birmingham. So some people live in Prattville and may commute to Montgomery, some may commute to Birmingham, and then some may work in Prattville because there are some companies and industries there that do employ people. So it's not like it's a jobless place, but there are fewer job opportunities than there are in Montgomery. All right, the 5th and final con of living in Prattville, Alabama are the limited shopping opportunities. Now, this used to be more so than it is now, so there used to be a lot less shopping opportunities years ago. There are more shopping opportunities in Prattville now, but there's still not as many as Montgomery. Some people might go to Montgomery to shop, some people might go up to Birmingham to shop, but still the number of shopping opportunities and access to shopping is fairly limited in Prattville. You've got the major stores like Target, Walmart, and some other boutique stores, but in general, most of the shopping that you're gonna be doing is in Montgomery or in Birmingham. So the limited number of shopping opportunities is one of the cons for living in Prattville. All right, that's gonna do it for today. If you need anything at all, just shoot me a call, text, or email. My information is down in the description below. And if you like this video, you're gonna love the next video, so go check it out.